The Emerald City. You are here at last, and the prophecy shall be fulfilled.
This is my sister, Evanora. I'm here to serve you.
The royal treasure of Oz. It belongs to you, but only after you defeat the Wicked Witch.
Just how wicked is she?
Towns were destroyed. Children were orphaned. Great wizard from Kansas. I've waited for you to come and set things right.
Me?
Yes, I am the great and mighty Ozhole. Because that's what he is, man. I mean,
are you talking about the prison show? Because it sounds more like that.
Yeah.
No,
I'm presenting your big hole to everyone.
No, I'm talking about this guy right here, the great and powerful Oz, the story of an asshole who goes on to be less of an asshole. He cons a whole magical kingdom. This is for anybody who wants to know. Okay, we heard about Dorothy. We know about the Tin Man, that scary ass lion, and
I've seen those.
Yeah, you've seen that, and Toto and all those fools. You know, you got this story. Seen those stories for years, but this finally answering the question I want to know: what happened to Oz? How did he get there? How did he become so great and powerful?
Who is this guy? Where did he come from? How did he come? Wait.
How did he come? I think the movie shows you that a lot.
And by the way, did he ever host the Oscars? These questions keep coming and coming.
Yeah, he used the magical green smoke to host the Oscars.
No, he's great and powerful. Just don't let him host an Oscar show. Oh, Leon, now
what's that now?
Well, you were what, about 35 when the original came out?
I think he was more like 45.
The original that you guys know, or the one back in the silent era, the first one that came out?
Oh, did they do one back in the silent?
Yes, they did.
See, I knew you'd know.
You mean the
trap?
Are you talking Are you talking about the one that nobody remembers except you? Is that the one you're talking about right now?
Cyrus remembered.
I remembered.
No, this is something that Disney has been trying to do for a long time.
Shit, they were trying to do this before the big one we all know.
Oh yeah,
with Judy Garland, and they got cock-blocked, quite frankly, on that whole deal by like 2 different studios.
Did they really?
Yeah, they wanted to do an animated one. They were all ready to go, and the rights got
just came in. That lion came in, and just snatched it right from him.
Yeah, that Samuel Goldwyn line. He wasn't so cowardly. He said, "Give me that shit. I don't care who you are."
He was great in Life of Pi, by the way.
Yeah. That's a tiger, fool.
Oh, sorry.
Show cats together.
They all look alike to me. Sorry.
I'm so ashamed of you.
That's racist, by the way.
You have got to upgrade his firmware. Seriously.
Yeah. One has a mane, one has stripes. I don't know the difference, but neither do you. Yeah, no, Disney been trying to do this for a while, man. Yeah, like Cyrus, they tried to do an animated movie back in the day before the Judy Garland one came up.
They did make a pseudo sequel, Return
Well, they
to
did,
Oz
yeah, they
in the
did.
80s.
They tried to make one they tried to do a live action series for Disney, for some TV show they had. Still couldn't get that going. That was dropped. When Disney finally died, somebody said, "Well, we're gonna do what Uncle Walt always wanted to do." And they fucked up. Yeah, they made Return to Oz. Do you remember that?
No, I never saw it.
You never saw that?
No. It was the thing about it is that it's really dark, and it was not what people were expecting to take their kids to at all. But that being said, it's actually a pretty fun movie. It's considered to be quite the cult classic these days.
Yeah, I've always loved just the look of that film, but I can't tell you anything about that plot to save my life, honestly.
It doesn't have much tonally in common with the original film.
It is very 80s. There's glam rock guys on roller skates. I mean, it's not
real?
David Bowie's roller skating his ass all through that movie.
Is this an animated movie?
No, it's
live action.
with Fairuza Balk in the role of Dorothy Gale.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
And the special effects were, even for the time, they weren't up to par. The Cowardly Lion, they tried to make him look like the Cowardly Lion from the L. Frank Baum books or whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah. You got it right.
Oh my God, that was a total accident.
So the question, the answer is for you not to try.
Okay, yeah, just throw it out there, man. Yeah, that line it looked like a taxidermist line. Like they brought it in, it just kind of moved a little bit, and so
it looked like a line that you'd get at a goddamn carnival. That's how bad it looked.
Yeah, like the one you won at the stand where we threw darts at the balloons and shit. Yeah, it looked like something like that. But then now today you got the technology, they got the rights. And Disney came up and told Sam Raimi, he said, "Avenge me, brother.
Yeah, please.
Make a good Oz movie. I finally got this shit. Don't disappoint me." And there's going to be some people, I'm telling you right now, who are not going to like this movie because they're going to love the Judy Garland movie that came back, the musical that came out a long time ago. Some
There's nothing you could do that can touch it, so why should you even try?
I would call them purists.
Well, but that's if it was a remake. It's more, well, it's definitely a prequel. But the thing about this movie that it doesn't step on that other movie at all.
No, they weren't really allowed to a certain extent. Disney actually owns, or not Disney, but MGM owns the Ruby Slippers. They even, and I'm not kidding, they own the wart on the Wicked Witch of the West's face.
But what I mean
not
is,
kidding.
but see, by all that token, usually when somebody else has the rights to something, they go like, well, I'm going to put my own stamp on it.
Sure.
And we're telling it our way, and we ain't got to tie into the other movie at all. And this manages to tell, its story. But it pays plenty of good, reverent homage to the other movie to where it plays right into being a prequel without going like, oh, what you saw before, that wasn't real. It's like, no, these both can share the universe.
I can easily say it takes a beautiful nod to that original Wizard of Oz film. Not only doing that, but allowing the filmmaker to actually put his own stamp there throughout the entire film.
And you know what the best thing to me about this movie was? I was just thinking, Tim Burton, eat your heart out.
Yeah, I know.
The whole time. I'm like, Bert, this is how you do it.
He was crying. He's crying the first 15 minutes of this movie in the theater going,
you know what? No, he wasn't crying. He was like, I don't give a fuck. I got paid. Alice in Wonderland was, whatever year it came out, I think it was 2 years ago, if not last year, that was the highest grossing movie that year. If it wasn't the highest grossing, it was the second highest grossing movie.
Sure. Crying from the critics all the way to the bank.
Yeah. So if this movie does not do at least as well as that movie does, that's going to be a crime.
Yeah, we're all going to become James Bond villains at that point.
I will be crying in the theater realizing that, wow, nobody's paying attention to this great piece of work.
And this is a unicorn in two ways. One, it's a good prequel. Holy shit. Those almost never happen. And two, it's a really good live action 3D film. Another thing that almost never happens.
Dude, this 3D is mind blowing. It's rare you get a movie where the 3D works that good.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout the movie, where just when you go like, okay, this is the point where they stop caring and it doesn't even matter. It's like, no, they keep throwing things in there.
Yeah, and creative. I mean, it's really so worked into the whole magic of Oz and the way the story works that at no point is it irritating. A lot of time, even when they get you at 3D movies, you're like, God damn it, that was just it was unnecessary. And here, when we got and we did get got, our whole row went, yeah! Everybody's laughing. It's like, okay, that was good. That was well earned getcha there.
Yeah. You have James Franco, still high as hell.
In this case, in a balloon.
No, in this case, off a blunt. But he plays Oscar Diggs. Oscar Diggs has a long ass name, which people say, all right, we're just going to call you Oz. How that last name with that Z and everything is pronounced, I don't know. So Oz
pretty
it
much,
is.
whenever he works with Sam Raimi, he has to play a character named Oz.
What's that?
Wow, really?
Yeah. Osborne?
Harry Osborne?
I don't deal with that nerd shit. Anyway, no, James Franco, he plays Oscar Diggs, who was Oz, and what you saw in The Wizard of Oz, if you ever thought, man, that guy's kind of a dick, well, you don't know the half. In this movie, they show this guy. He is a true con man. And he's a magician, but he's half legit. But most of the time, he's not good. He's not treating women any good. He treats his assistant, played by Zach Braff, like shit, calling him a monkey and everything. And it's only a matter of time
and you
before.
didn't identify with that character at all?
Oh, I totally did. Completely. Wait a minute, which one?
I know it sucks to be called a monkey, Leon. I don't like the
man.
abuse here.
I know. I'm such a victim. I'm so much like the Zach Braff character. I relate to him very well. But
let me be clear, that's not who we're talking about.
We're not talking about that at all. Mr. Role Reversal.
Did I miss another reference?
Yes, you did.
This one I totally does on purpose, but so I can totally understand when everything starts to come back on him, right down to the big guy that says, "Hey, Oz, you been sleeping with my woman?" And this big strong man at the circus. Yeah, so Oz gets in his hot air balloon. We recognize where this is going. Thinks he's gotten away. Like, yeah, fuck you, musclehead. And
it's exactly a quote from the movie.
That's from the movie, yeah. And he looks behind him, big ass tornado, sweeps him up. Great scene of 3D special effects. Movie goes from paying homage in a very, very nice way to the
black
original.
and white way.
Yeah, the black and white goes from just like the 1939 original. It goes from black and white, and it also goes from a small aspect ratio to widescreen. We're back in the wondrous world of Oz, except this time we don't see the Wicked Witch anywhere. We don't see the Munchkins. We don't see any of this stuff. This is all
Tin
new.
Man,
Yeah, the Tin Man.
Scarecrow,
No, this is not
Cowardly
their
Lion.
story, but this is also some characters we haven't seen yet. We're slowly being introduced to the world of Oz, and we're finding out how James Franco, a.k.a. Oz, became the great and powerful. That guy with that big-ass hologram with that scary face on it, how did he get there?
All them smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
And in his own way, his quest for a heart. You know what I mean? That's kind of his story here. Finding out, like, you know, maybe he actually is a good man after all. After all that bluster.
Yeah,
well,
well-
you know, when you're staying in Kansas before that, it's easy to be an asshole. When you're in, fuck this place. You go to Oz, you're like, maybe I want to chill out and be nice to people now.
And it's also a quest for everyone else to hope that this guy does find a goddamn heart, so they can, so they're not under the thumb of oppression anymore.
Well, yeah, because it's been prophesied in the land of Oz that a wizard will fall from the sky, named after the land. It's a really specific legend.
Yeah, it's true, it is.
There's basically no getting out of it that he's the guy, even though it seems clear to some of the people who are rooting for him early on that this guy can't do shit.
Yeah.
He's like, if you have an evil witch who's allergic to rabbits coming out of hats, then he's your guy. Other than that, you're kind of fucked.
And you know, and that's specifically why that's why I love that Sam Raimi basically decided to remake Army of Darkness in this whole movie. Just watching this whole movie, just your description of who Oz is, all I could picture, I was like, wow, if Sam Raimi had this material, you know who he'd be pitching for the lead guy? It's not going to be James Franco. It would have been Bruce Campbell, easily. Because, just watching this movie, I was like, wow, I could see Bruce Campbell play this role to a T if he had his youth still.
Except Oz would have had a chainsaw on his arm.
Exactly. But, that's the thing I thought that worked perfectly for this material and for Sam Raimi to direct it, because I think, when you get down to the core of what the material is itself, it's a story of a reluctant hero. For me at least, and just see that how he handled that character, and just how he handled everyone else dealing with this guy who they know he's a coward. They start to realize at some point, this isn't the guy who we were hoping it would be, but we got to kind of make do with what we have here. I think that's what is kind of the magic of this whole movie. That's, obviously it sets up for a great story and something you can identify with you just trying to find the hero within yourself.
Oh, but it's not just the origin story of the wizard. No, it's also where we find out where the Wicked Witch of the West, the big villain from the one we all know and love, came from. And to be fair, if there's one weak spot in this film at all, and it's not a big one, it's a minor problem I had with it, is that I thought that the actress I don't even want to say because it's
don't
ruin
say
it,
it, don't say
but
it.
the actress they have who eventually becomes the Wicked Witch of the West, when that transfer happens, it didn't sell to me. I thought as the witch, I was like, well, you're trying really hard, but I would have cast somebody
So you're
else.
saying you didn't buy into the origin story of the Wicked Witch
No,
of the
the
West?
story was fine. It was the actress
Oh, the
herself.
actress.
I thought was just miscast. That's all.
That didn't bother me.
I know. That's one thing I have to actually really disagree with you about.
I have some problems with continuity here, and not because it's connected to the 1939 movie. It's because of it's a story that they set in place, which they're trying to follow up, or they're trying to make a prequel to here. But I'll tell you what they did well is that they made a very good prequel, but at the same time they made their own movie. They're not trying to recreate that. They're just saying this is its own world, but we're going to do proper nods to the story, to the 1939 movie, and they do it well. There are a lot of references to all the universes that we've seen put out there of Oz, and they don't do them real heavy-handed.
Yeah,
No, they find an organic way to work it all in. And on top of that, it's like there's certain things from the 1939 movie that you want to see. You've seen this before, and goddamn it, I don't want to see an Oz movie that don't have flying monkeys in it or flying apes of some sort. And goddamn, they're in there, but it's not overpowering. It's not like George Lucas going like, huh? Chewbacca, huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, these are elements everybody wants to see. We like them too. This is what I've
The
seen.
movie never stops to
It
bring attention on
drastically
that.
expands the Oz universe,
Oh, yeah.
drastically so,
Yeah.
but nothing tonally feels like it's not in that same world as the original film. I mean, certainly better special effects, to be sure, but it all feels like that same type of whimsy. And even the nods, as they were, are just that. They're just nods. They're kind of in the background, and it never feels like it needs to hit all the same beats as
Yeah.
the original film, which is what my biggest fear was. They're
Oh, yeah.
just going to go, okay, well, we've got to have the same type of voyage, with very similar type characters. Yeah, they don't do that at all. They manage to find a new story to tell within the same world.
Now, what I like the most, I mean, besides it being like just visually mind blowing, just like the minute they get to Oz, I'm like, that's the moment I thought, Tim Burton, you need to sit down with don't leave the theater. Come back here, get a pad and a pencil, and write down everything you see here. But the visuals, the 3D. Just the story, but mostly the characters. All the characters they had in here, especially Zach Braff, originally as his assistant and then later as his companion flying monkey. That was some of the funniest things I've seen all year.
Finley.
Finley, yeah.
Finley the flying monkey.
They just found a way to make that character. I mean, he was actually, that 3D monkey was out acting James Franco all through the movie.
Yeah.
Wait, I got it. Or turn around and go back. You'll come clean. You apologize for lying about being the wizard and for lying to that poor girl, okay? You gotta really seem contrite. You gotta sell it. Maybe you can even cry. Can you cry? I could cut up an onion.
I'm not going back. We're gonna find this wicked witch, steal her wand. I'll get that big pile of gold, and you can have a nice pile of bananas, all right?
Bananas. Oh, I see. Because I'm a monkey, I must love bananas, right? That is a vicious stereotype.
You like bananas?
Of course I love bananas. I'm a monkey. Don't be ridiculous. I just don't like you saying it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up. The characters, besides the nods, that's another thing that really worked for me in this movie because I mean that's the big selling point of the Wizard of Oz is the cast of characters that Dorothy comes into contact with and goes on this adventure with her. Same thing kind of happens here with Oz running into these characters as he's supposed to go and defeat the witch. Like you brought up Finley, but another just amazing character I thought was the China Doll.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember who voiced her character.
Joey King.
Yeah, but just the introduction of her character and how Oz finds her, I thought was just so touching. And there's moments like that of just these characters meeting each other that are so genuine and so goddamn well written that it happens throughout the movie. And that's something that I think a lot of prequels tend to forget. They forget about, when you take us back to this world that we've been introduced to, we want to meet some new interesting characters, and they have to be interesting for a specific reason. They have to be characters that you honestly want to go out and buy toys for. And and this I thought that wow, whoever wrote this script, and I'm sure there's plenty of hands in the script, but whoever did paid a lot of attention to these new characters that you're.
Would you like to know who wrote the script?
Sure,
because I have it open right now.
Oh hey, why not, pal?
Just because you have it open doesn't mean you can tell us most of the time.
I've been doing well with names tonight. I'm going to tell you. Mitchell Kapner. And David Lindsay Abair.
Never heard of them, but
I never heard of them either, but I have them right here. I want to read it.
I will bow to them.
And probably in collaboration with Disney World's Imagineers, because there are large parts of this movie when you're watching it, and it doesn't take anything away from it. It's really fun to watch, but I couldn't help but think they were building the ride as they were filming the movie.
Oh, yeah.
You know what, man? This movie's so good that I'll get on that ride.
Yeah, exactly.
If they had it sitting out in the parking lot out of the theater,
You would have said, how much? $50? I'll take it.
I'll get in your hot air balloon.
Leon's wearing a blue and white dress right now. I got on some ruby red slippers. He's trying to get there as quick as he can.
Except I don't think
heels to left together.
But I always wear that.
But Leon, I don't think you're tall enough to get on the ride. That's the only
Oh,
problem.
that's mean, man. That's not right.
Yes, from a floating head, I hear this.
That's why he's wearing heels. Right?
Oh, that's right. Hey, there's no place like home.
And I'm so glad you brought up Star Wars, because that's what I was pissed at George Lucas about, just forcing us to see those original characters from Star Wars, which we didn't need to do.
Exactly.
Now here we have characters as necessary, but he introduces. I'm sorry, George Lucas don't do shit on this movie. But this movie introduces all these characters that we just talked about, and that's great because they have this world to expand upon, and we don't want. If this had been I have a feeling that at some point in the beginning stages of the script that they were trying to do all these references to the Scarecrow and to the Tin Man, and they do it here, but it's it's very slight.
It's almost like it gets brought up and you go like, oh, here it comes, and they're like, no, we're not.
And that's so vague. It could be the germ of some character, one of the tinkerers in here, idea that later evolves into those characters. But that's about as much as we see. It's barely there.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, it's only in the key characters that we're pulling back to the original film as far as them actually having been in it. And most notable of that was Melissa Williams as Glinda the Good Witch.
Michelle Williams,
sorry, who I thought knocked it out of the park. I mean, it's like, wow, you are Glinda the Good Witch.
Again, a good nod to the original that we saw in the movie, but it's its own thing.
Well, and when they take those characters of the witches who are in the other movie, but they're more, I don't know, they're pieces, they're threats, whatever. Here, they have them in here, but they flesh them out so well.
Yeah.
Hey, Sam Raimi knows how to take care of his witches.
Yeah, right. Well,
He does witches right.
Even the villains have depth in their backstories, and you understand more about who they are. Like I said, even the fact that like Oz himself is a con man and a grifter, we see early on there's more to him than that. So he creates a character with layers that you're rooting for the whole movie, not even so much to save Oz as to save himself.
And like with any adventure, it's the layers that start to peel back as he's going through this whole journey.
What are you, Shrek?
I am.
What are you, an onion? Man, Coles, that damn China girl. That girl had me crying.
Oh, I know. Are you okay? You admit it? There was two scenes where I was shedding some tears.
Oh, man.
And I had Brian next to me, and I wish I had a hoodie.
Well, fuck you. Hey,
I'm sorry. Wait, did you just say? Did you just call me a pussy?
And I was
because I'm glad you did.
Leon, I was about to tell you, I ain't cried this hard since Leon cried in the first Spider-Man.
Leon, I knew we should have done our own review on this one.
I haven't cried this hard.
Grown men here.
I haven't cried this hard since fucking Leon told me he liked Spider-Man 3.
Oh, I know. That was a tragedy, man. Wasn't it?
That was a tragedy.
Sorry, since you guys told old jokes from 5 years ago.
Hey, look, I'm pulling a Sam Raimi on these old jokes. All right, I'm bringing new life to them.
You pulling more of a Ted Raimi on these old jokes.
I know we're not from the days you know of vaudeville, but we're trying. Man. We're trying.
Give me some of that oil, Corey.
You guys keep trying, and I'll go get the hook.
If only Corey had a brain and I had a heart. I guess.
No, we both need brains.
No, we do.
Shit, we need two brains to put together, man. Come on, let's not lie to ourselves.
No, that's true.
But no, man, I'm not going to lie. They do some things that they did. Again, not very heavy-handed. You saw some characters that they had nods to. I'm gonna stop using that word. Nods. But,
But you want to call him Hitchcockian?
No, I'm not going to use that.
Hey, you can use it.
The way it went from black and white to color in a Hitchcockian manner is amazing. But they...
I know you're kidding, but I still want to smack you.
Wait till the end of the review.
It's Orson Welles, guy.
Like you always do. On the ass. But there was...
Come over my knee right now.
Don't tempt me. Yeah. Now, in the original, we saw some characters that they hinted at in the black and white part that they carried over as other characters into the color part of the movie. And they do that here. And again, a very subtle way. It feels natural for this film. And he does something in the black and white part that transcends over to the color part to a certain character, especially this little China girl. And I was sitting up there. I was fighting tears so hard. My asshole was clenched up trying to fight those tears back.
My tears were like Tom Cruise trying to hang on.
Oh,
trying to hang on. Don't do it.
Much like the original film, like there are actors who are in Kansas who are the same people who are playing the roles in Oz. The strange thing here is that he seems more aware of that than Dorothy ever was in the original film.
She was kind of stupid and on drugs.
Yeah, she was,
she was drunk.
She's talking to her dog.
She was on spring break. Come on.
But especially in terms of Glinda the Good Witch and the way that relates back to the story, which that has a really cool little nod to the origin of Dorothy herself back in Kansas. It's like, okay, I really love the way they pull all this stuff together into one big circle. It's a film that bears going back again to see if we missed some stuff.
Right.
Because it's very dense with information and with just visual things going on all over the place and names being thrown about. I'm like, shit, I need to go watch the original again and then watch this again.
And once again, with the, bringing the visuals, I mean, wow, there's parts where it just, where it looked, I'm sure somebody can go, hey, that's all CG, man. Come on, get out. But you know what? This is the first time where I've seen, CG where it really does enhance the whole world of what Oz is about. I mean, I'm sure
that's not the first time.
I say Avatar Pixar did it pretty well.
Well,
Hey, for him.
for me,
He's speaking
yeah.
from his experience.
I like, yeah. Geez, sorry guys. Anything else you'd like to add?
Wow,
Anything
it
else you'd like to
really meant
add
a
to
lot
my?
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that meant a
I know.
lot.
Yes,
to me.
I'd take that as a diss on Jurassic Park, and I'm not going to put up with that.
Hey, go watch Jurassic Park again. You tell me what you think about that movie magic. But I mean, with this though, I mean, watching this, I was like, wow. It made me want to go back and watch the original because that's one of the things I think the original still like it really stands out. It's just the visuals, the beautiful matte paintings that they had in that movie. This it's just as gorgeous and it is the same world. It's not like they went so like you said, Leon, about hey, let's make this our own. They still managed to let you know this is the world that you're very well familiar with. You're not going to feel like a stranger here. But you know what? Guess what? We haven't even begun to show you what the rest of this world really looks like.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just like with the introduction of the balloon coming in, this is the first time where a director has done something that I always look for movies to do, and that's speaking for Star Wars movies. And recently, this Jack the Giant Slayer, where when we're introduced to a world, I want to see the world.
Exactly.
I want to be enthralled by it. And this movie, once again, Sam Raimi's eye, which Sam Raimi for me. I'm passionate about his Evil Dead movies for a reason. And watching this movie, I'm like, wow, he still managed to bring his own like signature of movie making to this where it worked perfectly. I'm like, wow, I wouldn't be surprised if Sam Raimi is like a real a Wizard of Oz fan because he's really paying attention to the
actual wizard.
Actual
Actual wizard.
he really is.
He's a wizard of cinema.
So you finally understand Spider-Man 3 now, right?
Yeah.
Finally come around to it.
Well, yeah.
Oh, they got to drag that out every time.
We have to remind us. Hey,
That's what happens when you don't have a lot of material.
no. It's a travesty. We must never forget.
Well, you know what? This movie almost made me forget. It really did.
Can I say something about Sam Raimi's work though? I am not okay. I'm gonna get into the complaint section of this review.
Okay.
I am not a huge fan of all of his camera work.
That's your problem.
No, that's your problem.
That's your problem. Tell me your problems.
No, I don't like the swish pans. I don't always like the quick close ups and with the tilt. I see that in every movie that he does, and for some people that's going to be his signature, and that's them. I mean, this is just me. I don't like when I see that. It takes me back to Evil Dead too much, and I usually think, all right, pull back on that a little bit. But everybody else is fine with it. That's just me. I don't think in the beginning, James Franco, I wasn't sold on him.
You know what? Honestly, I was the same way through probably the first half of the movie where I was just like, well, it's not like he's bad, but I can think of so many guys who could really sell this, and he's not doing it. It's like he's in here because he knows Sam Raimi, but there's plenty of other actors I think could sell that being the showman. And I was like, maybe it's just me who feels like this.
You know who they were going to have originally for the role who would have been perfect for it?
Who's that?
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
wow.
Johnny Depp
Yeah.
after that.
I don't want Johnny Depp. I'm tired of
No.
But you know he was the guy they were looking for.
Oh, he's
for
the
it.
go-to guy now.
But you know
for
what?
these type of
as
films.
much as Franco is, I don't think he ever does a bad job in the role. He just has this sort of like, I'm not entirely sure how comfortable I am feel that eventually pays off in the character, I thought. Once you get to the beginning of the third act and we actually get to see him be uncertain and off his feet and like, I don't know what to do here, that whole aspect of his performance plays into that in a effective way, I think.
Can I bring something up though? The fact that watching this beginning, it really, and I hate to bring that back Evil Dead again, but watching, but I will, don't worry. But watching the beginning of this movie, I kind of had the same reaction when I watched Bruce Campbell in Evil Dead 2, where the scenes with him in it at the very beginning were so hammy. It immediately made you go, wow, this guy is an awful, awful actor. And it wasn't until the movie went along that it's like all of a sudden at the end of that movie, I was going, this guy is an incredible actor. I had the same kind of response to what he was doing, what James Franco was doing in this movie. Where at the beginning I was like, wow, he's playing like he's reading off a script in somewhere. But by the end of it, he really sold me as far as this character. Because then I thought, well, you know what? He was playing a phony at the beginning of the movie in some ways. So much of a phony that you really couldn't find who this guy really was. And maybe I'm looking too deep into it, but I mean, it really just made me go, wow, if I really went back and watched it again, maybe I can see that, the guy's not who he is.
I just felt like I settled. I felt like I settled and the material got got more
Really?
got funnier.
Okay.
And maybe his character arc was a little more pronounced as the movie went on. Because I just kept thinking there were times where he made me laugh, and I thought he was perfect for it. And there were other times where I thought, this guy just doesn't seem right for it. But
I'll say
I'm enjoying the movie enough to where I can let it pass.
I'll say this, though. Honestly, this is like the best James Franco movie I've seen as far as him just, playing a character.
As if you never saw Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
This is, you know what? He's not the most memorable thing about that movie to me. I mean, in this movie, though, he is. He has to carry this. This movie's about him. And I honestly thought he carried it all the way through.
I think he's always getting upstaged by monkeys in his movies now.
The monkeys are very cute.
Or rocks.
Yeah, well, it's just been 2 movies where the monkeys are probably more memorable than he is.
Because I think he's going to be in the remake of Any Which Way But Loose.
Well, you better be careful. I know who to root for in that one.
Yeah.
Well, man, listen, we're not mentioning a whole lot of things here because there's a lot of element of surprise here. We're not mentioning certain actors because there's a lot of element of surprise here.
Don't give him any hits, Corey.
I know there's some people who are out there saying, well, how was this person? How was that person? That's probably
they're good. Don't worry about
it. The less you know from this point on, the better you'll be. But as I said in the beginning, you're going to read a lot of reviews from people who are going to say this just doesn't feel right, and I'm going to dare say that half of them, they're just too connected to the Judy Garland film, and I'm one of those people too. I grew up with that. I had to watch that movie every year with my family. They played Somewhere on the Rainbow, my coming out party. I mean, they had this.
That explains too much.
You would describe yourself as a friend of Dorothy.
Oh, honey, she's lovely.
Yeah.
But
you always remind me of Toto.
You shut up, you. But that's Cyrus, big and shaggy. But I'm gonna say this: the way I looked at this movie. After every complaint that I had about Alice in Wonderland, they solved that here. This isn't a movie that it didn't try to be too modern. They didn't try to fit any songs in there that they could sell a soundtrack with. They didn't try to put things in there that they thought that the kids would connect to because that's hip. God damn it, Oz and no monkeys or anybody did any breakdance moves in here. Thank God for that. And
well, I don't know. I think it could have worked if they wanted to do some breakdancing.
I'm about to throw this phone at you.
The flying monkeys doing that.
You know what? Edit that part out.
I'm about to,
because we don't want anybody to even get the hint of doing something like that.
I'm about to break you as I dance on your corpse over there. You better stop that kind of talk. Whatever complaints it's not a perfect movie for me. I told you my complaints right here, but I really will bypass a lot of the things that I'm complaining about because I can walk in here and see that kids are going to love this. This is a perfect family film. Absolutely perfect. Everybody's going to have fun with this. The 3D they use effectively. There's a scene down a water slide. I'm sorry. That's the ride at Disney World.
It's pretty much a water slide, though.
It is a water going down a waterfall. That takes me back to Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom when I actually felt like I was riding a roller coaster in the movie. There's so many things that they do here that make this a fun family experience that there was a guy that sent us an email. He said, if you don't like this movie, you're an asshole.
I know, we jumped all over him.
I scoffed at him.
but now, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I sat up there and I pointed a finger at this guy and I said, how dare you? But now I agree with that. I echo that. Exactly. I say, if you don't like this movie, then you're an asshole.
You know, that upsets me, though, to hear that he wrote that, because now he's going to think you're not an asshole.
Well, no, I think he'll know.
Well, don't worry. Corey's going to have plenty of more chances like that. To really fuck that up.
This week, he gets to think Corey's not an asshole.
Yeah.
I know.
This hour, he gets to think Corey's not an asshole. Give it a few minutes. Full price.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not only is this a perfect movie for kids, but, like, I've watched the Wizard of Oz, the original, so many times to the point that I really got burnt out on it. And that was maybe the thing that was making me not look forward to this. But watching this movie, it really took me back to wow, I feel like when I was a kid and watched that movie for the first time, it had that much wonderment in it, except, upgraded to sophistication where I can watch it now and get that. And the imagination that went into it was just amazing. And wow, sexy witches? Okay, I can deal with that.
I'm always about sexy witches.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, the villainesses are always the sexiest anyway. But outside of all the things we named about it, it was almost this was clearly the best fairy tale movie that I think I've ever seen. And it was almost perfect. I didn't have as many problems as you did, Corey. Like, when you talk about the camera work, I thought there was so many inventive things going on here. I think Sam Raimi just, like, stepped above himself and made something where so many times I see his movies and I love them, but there's a hiccup or two that I just kind of ignore. And here, there was none of that. The only thing I had a problem with, like yourself, was James Franco in the first half of the movie. And it was just that feeling like he's okay. He's just not quite there to pull off being the guy who's so much of a showman. As Cyrus, you said, it's almost like he was unsure what movie he was in. Or co-host, you mentioned like he was reading off cards. It just wasn't quite there. It's like another actor could have done it. He didn't, but that's what gives me a very high full price, not a Better Than Sex.
I agree that Franco seems out of his element, but like I said, I think that maybe that was even intentional in the casting. I think it plays out to where I enjoyed him that much more because of that element. And as far as the camera work goes, I think Raimi's style was, unseparable from this film. I never, like a lot of his other films, you can't help but notice those Raimi camera moments. Here, it fused so seamlessly into the whole feeling of Oz that it never even occurred to me to think about it. It just created more of that sense of wonder here. I really, anything I can say I don't like about this is a nitpick, and I know it. It's one of those like, well, I go into these things looking for things sometimes to criticize. I go, am I really going to do that? Am I really going to say it's so great until the ending credits when the music starts and I go, turn that horrible pop song off? Who gives a shit? Quite frankly, this is a lot of fun. This is the thing I like about this movie is that it makes me feel the way I do whenever Disney does their magic. When you walk out, you talk about that Disney magic. This is one of those that they really get that. You're like charmed. You wish you had like a niece or nephew or something with you to go, come on, I'm going to take you to this thing. You're going to love it. Makes you feel like a kid again. I give this a very high full price.
What about that Corey magic?
That Corey magic we all agreed to talk about only in private.
that black magic.
Oh, black magic. Yeah. Too much lube required for the Corey.
Hey, I wasn't even going there with that. No, you always turn something nasty, man.
Once again, that's Oz like the TV show.
Yeah, hey, come on, man. Damn. So
You
innocent.
need to have Sam Raimi to remake that.
Yeah, no.
Starring Corey and you guys.
And you.
And me. Yes. You know what? It's very rare that a movie can not only pay homage to, obviously all its source material from the film, but also expand on it and make it that much more interesting. And that's what I look for when I see any kind of property, try to either tell a prequel or a sequel. And this one does it in spades for me. And I'm just happy that Sam Raimi finally, gets to really show that he is a true master of cinema. And I will go as far as I only wish I had a glass of wine or something to celebrate this moment, something to celebrate this momentous occasion.
Hey, you can use that plastic bottle.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
go ahead, toast to him. Go ahead.
Tissy cup. Yeah, Sam Raimi, this goes out to you and your incredible vision. Your vision that Disney did not crap over. That Mickey Mouse didn't slap you over the goddamn face and go, God damn it, you're gonna do it my way or no way. And thank God. It's a movie I want to go see again. And that says a lot. So for me, I'm going to give this a Better Than Sex.
Okay.
Yes.
Dun,
there you go.
No.
A true masterpiece.
Yes.
A true movie that belongs in the archives of the Disney archive.
Well, with all you're talking
box or
about
whatever.
crying and stuff, you're probably never going to have sex again anyway.
Yeah. Look, man, just leave me alone, all right? I'm just trying to do a review, all right? I try. You bring me down.
You are capable of more than you know.
Are you the great man we've been waiting for?
I think I could be.